surprised.
Okay, we're live.
Okay. So actually another thing I wanted to do today, I'll give you what to think about. Like last week we dealt with Moshe Rabbeinu's inability to speak. That was all, we discussed it over here?
Yeah.
I discussed the 4 different versions of the speech defect.
Yeah.
This week's the sugya is all the different versions of Paro's inability to hear. Machbid liba, mechazek liba, all the different ways to be, hard on your heart. What? It's an interesting way to frame it. There's the din, the mitzad hanoisim, mitzad the makabel, the menias to communication, to success, to anything, is the ability to give it over, and you're limited by the person's ability to makabel. This dvarim she'ef shlishmaya, and so last week was.
That's why Hashem sent Pasha, because he wasn't just dvarim. He didn't need dvarim. He needed to get whacked up.
Who Paro?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, a little bit maybe. Well, you had to talk his language. Yeah.
I mean, the whole excuse was
I hear. So was Moshe a concession to the speech thing or the hearing thing? I hear. Maybe that's okay. That's a sugya I want to do. One of these weeks we'll do it before Mitzrayim is over. I mean, again, they border each other. Like, really, that's what speech is meant to be. I'll tell you one thing I said over the Shabbos. Right. You saw that everybody was Makkos last week. One of the most interesting stories in the whole Torah, maybe possibly the most trippy, weird story in the whole Torah, is Moshe Rabbeinu getting swallowed by this animal, whatever it is. It's Hashem, like Pikesh Hamisa. You know what he knows exists.
Where is this?
Yeah, people don't know this, but
There was a snake. What was it? A snake?
what it is. It's not clear what it is. Right? And
What's the story?
Tzipora runs, gives the kid a bris, takes the arm off, touches it to Moshe's feet, and lets him go free. Chassan dem right? B'damaya chayi, b'damaya chayi. You see it? It's right after he leaves Midian to go to. Because Hashem wanted to kill him.
Where does it say swallow? Oh, then it's the year
It sounds like when he was up to his feet in the guy's thing's mouth. No, that's how it learns it. Let's see how much is taka in the pasuk. Let's look at the pasuk and see. Before Rashi. Let's look at the pasuk and see, without any mefarshim, what would you assume this pasuk means? That's how I like to do this stuff. Because once you see Rashi, you're not able to think, think unbiased.
What's pasuk?
Thank you.
Let's look at it. They were on the way in a hotel.
Before this, this is Hashem telling Moshe to talk to Paro.
Right.
But to mind the Shalchai?
They were on the way back to Mitzrayim in a hotel or a motel. Vayifkesheyu Hashem. It's a weird phrase. Hashem met him. Yeah. Vayivakish Hamisai. And he wanted to kill him. Like that itself is also weird. Like Hashem, like usually you imagine that whatever Hashem wanted happens. Vatikach Tzipora Tsar. Tzipora takes a rock. Vatichreis is Orlas Panash. She cuts off his Orla. Vatagal Raglov. Who's Raglov? The son's feet or Moshe's feet?
Moshe.
Is that obvious, or could be both?
Yeah,
Is the room to say it both ways from the pasuk?
It's just a left and right way.
See,
Said no.
the next word sounds like she's relating to Moshe. Vatomer ki chasan damim atali. A bridegroom of blood you are to me. Who's she talking to there?
I never.
It's not even clear who that is talking to. I mean, you would assume it's Moshe. Vayiraf mimenu oz. But then it keeps on changing who we're talking about without any. That's not the way you normally talk. Vayiraf mimenu, like oz omra chasan damim lamulis. It's mamish like, so what do you call it when things are out of reach? So what was my ha'ara I spoke about? Friday night I give the Olam a question to think about. So I'll tell you, I'll tell you two things. I said a very, very short thought, something to think about, and this time I said anakasha. The short thought was, the parasha begins last week with, what does it say? Ubnei Yisrael paru v'yishritzu v'yirbu v'yatzmu b'ma'oid ma'oid v'timolei ha'aretz eisam. How many expressions of expansion are there? So again, Ubnei Yisrael paru yishritzu yirbu yirbu v'yatzmu paru yishritzu yirbu v'yatzmu b'ma'oid ma'oid v'timolei ha'aretz eisam. So ma'oid count. So how many you have? You have 7 then? So what I wanted to tell you was, not only does ma'oid count, but who says ma'oid? Here's the options. There's no real option for 7. Because ma'oid, paru v'yishritzu v'yirbu v'yatzmu b'ma'oid. So v'yatzmu is really 3 different levels. Yatzmu ma'oid. But really, if you think about it, who says ma'oid is only going on v'yatzmu? It means paru v'yishritzu v'yirbu v'yatzmu b'ma'oid.
Should be 8.
No. So paru v'yishritzu v'yirbu v'yatzmu is 4. B'ma'oid. Very, very. So how many is that? 12. That means it's paru, yishritzu, yirbu, v'yatzmu, paru ma'oid, yishritzu ma'oid, yirbu ma'oid, yatzmu ma'oid, paru ma'oid. There are 12 poshet pshat. There are 12 different levels of expansion. Make sense? That poshet pshat? If you just think of the poshet. Paru, yishritzu, yirbu, v'yatzmu, ma'oid. So if you go through the pasuk, there are 12, and then it says "Vatimolei ha'aretz oisam," which is really the 13th. It's the 13th. So I want to say that there are 12/13 versions of expansion, which parallel what? The 13 different shvatim. There's 12 shvatim and Shevet Levi. Shevet Levi is equivalent to which one? Vatimolei ha'aretz oisam. Why?
Because they didn't have the first ones killed?
They didn't have a chilek in Eretz Yisrael. They lived in every shevet. It's klar. They lived right in all the shvatim. Timali Eretz Yisrael. But I told them like this. I said, you learn from this is that everybody has their own unique version of expansion. Everyone's huge. You have to know which is yours. Like every shevet everybody was created with a certain kind of hitting it out of the park. That was meant for them. One guy's paru, one guy's yishritzu ma'oid, one guy's yirbu ma'oid. If there's 12, you have to figure out which one goes for each shevet. But the point is that the types of expansion of Klal Yisrael mirror the types of the divisions of Klal Yisrael, which translates as that every yochid has his own way of being huge. Okay? So, and then the thought I gave them was that Moshe didn't give his kid a milah. right? Moshe also had a problem speaking, and the Torah calls his speaking problem aral sifasoy, uncircumcised of lip, which is a really strange speech defect. He had an orla on his mouth, and over here, his son had an orla that he didn't cut off, that his wife had to cut off. So, but the connection between the mouth and the orla, we call it the bris hama'or and the bris halashon, the two different brises. Bris krusal isfasoy is a bris made for your lips, like the demands of the Torah of how you speak. So they're both called mila. A mila is a bris, and a mila is a word, right? Bris mila means words. Moshe had an inability, had something wrong with both milas. Problem with mila. But okay, I told him that, but I said, but the ka'ora I want to give you, to figure out is, so I'm making a connection. Everyone knows this, the famous connection between mila and mila. Orla and orla. Speech. You have to figure out why they're connected. But where does this whole story take place? Torah goes out of its way to tell us where it takes place with this Moshe being swallowed up. Where?
On the way.
Where? On the way where?
On the line.
On the way where?
Mitzrayim.
Baderech b'maloin. In a hotel, in the inn. But what's the Hebrew word for maloin?
Mila.
Mila. It's also Mila. The whole story of the Mila takes place in the maloin. So I said, welcome to the Voltaire. I want you to figure out what hotel has to do with bris Mila and speech. Mila is a word, Mila is a bris, and Mila is a hotel. What can you figure out what the message is that all three of them are the same word? You have a mahalach? I said I have three truths, three ideas. Can you figure out something? Connect the dots. Hotel, word, bris. These are good exercises to test, to work on the creativity muscles in your brain. Can you come up with a connection between a word, a bris, words, speech, words? Moshe Aral Sipasayim, we're born with an arla. We're supposed to get a bris. And the word for being able to speak, Moshe couldn't speak. So he couldn't speak because he didn't have a milah in his mouth. The inability to speech is not to have a milah. So what does hotel fit in? So I'll tell you three mahalachim. The first mahalach is, you'll tell me, you'll judge if they're sound real. Why is a milah what brings? Milah is the biggest thing. It's what makes you enter into the bris of Klal Yisrael. So what's the symbolism of that? Why would you say? What?
7 is Tava, 8 is Malam and Tava.
That's just it's on the 8th day. What does that have to do with cutting off your orla?
Oh. Wait, for Smila.
I'm saying, why would Hashem make you have an orla and we're going to cut it off and then you become a Jew? It's an important question. It's maybe the most important question. This is what enters you into our covenant. So this is very telling about what the purpose of a Jew is. You get the name, you enter the bris of Avram, of Klal Yisrael, when they cut off the arla. What does that symbolize? What does cutting off an arla do? That shouldn't be so hard to be creative about. So I think that Hashem is Echad. Hashem reveals himself that he's Echad. And therefore the godliness is oneness. The absence of godliness is division. And therefore the act of becoming a Jew is when you take off the orla, which is a chatzitza. This is the organs that where people become echad. So you're born with an orla, and when you remove the orla, now you are mukhshar to be totally one with somebody. There's nothing being mafsik. And that's what Judaism is. Judaism is the Shem Yichud Kudsha. We're here to make everything one. Right? I always say the world is puzzle pieces, and we're puzzle makers. Our job is to put all the pieces back together again. When you do that, you're seeing God. Hashem is Echad. Hashem is Echad. The world is the hiddenness of this Echad. Everything's divided. We're put here to put all the pieces back together again. The ultimate connection is intimacy. That's where the fullest being one. The highest, the pinnacle of oneness. But you're born with a blockage. And the emphasis, it's not, a woman's also has a blockage. But for some reason, she doesn't get a bris when she's born. It's only when she gets married that the blockage is open. And the man opens it up. So that's also tricky things to think about. Why both of us are born with a chatzitza. The man's at birth, his is removed, and her by the chas by in marriage it's removed. But they both, then you're echad. It's very big. We don't talk about these things, but you realize it's very powerful, very important. So now from there.
What's the difference?
So now to connect it.
So now speech is the same thing. Speech, a milah, is what allows man and woman to connect, and a milah allows people to communicate too. It creates the ability for two people to talk. The overcoming of separation of things is milah. Milah gets rid of the bridge. It's a bridge. It bridges the chasm between separate things. One way is
also bridges between two places.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying. So a maloin, what does a maloin do? Not like today's hotels. I don't think that where you go to a hotel for vacation. The purpose of a hotel then was a way station, a place to stay when you're traveling, that you can go far distances and sleep and have food. When you couldn't do it in one day, it allowed you to go and connect and experience places or things that you wouldn't normally do. So a maloin does what really words do in the bris does. It allows people to. That's what mahalach feels real. I think it's compelling. Yeah. The second shot in maloin is a different same. Stick with the unity, but a different version of unity. It's that normally you live here. We have our places, and people go places. Some will go this way, some will go this way. The maloin is where everybody meets. You're in a maloin. There are people there from every place. It's a place, a melting pot of all the backgrounds and all the different places and all the people. It's a place of that. It's a place where everybody, all the different worlds collide. It's a place of achdus. It's mamish the maloin. It's like the place where everybody. It's a meal is two people. A maloin is like everybody meets, right? It's a powerful thing to think of a maloin that way. It's very. And the third word I was thinking was.
So, this connecting. This is the same like the first one, isn't it?
Well, the first one is the maloin is a bridge that allows you, the unity of the maloin allows you to connect. But this is a whole different kind of connection. This is the place where everybody meets. It's not that it allows me to get somewhere else, to go somewhere else. It's a place, literally, it's like a conference. It's a conference center. Not by definition, not of course it is, if everyone needs to stop along the way. So people coming this way, people coming this way. Everyone stops off in the maloin and sets off in the morning in different directions. But the maloin is the place of achdus. So hotels are very, very, it's like a microcosm of Judaism. The purpose, our purpose in the world. It's like a trippy thing what a hotel is. It's a place of achdus, a place where everything comes together. The third word I had is that like sukkah. What's sukkah about? You live in your house, hermetically sealed from the world with your roof, and you leave your house and you go to a roof that's not so with vulnerability. You allow yourself to feel. You get rid of your blockages. So that's the same part of going to a hotel, is you leave your regular life, where take off your noise canceling headphones, and go away, go somewhere else. But there's two different ways to go to a hotel. Some people go to the hotel because their life is too overwhelming and they're running away from their existence. And some people go to a hotel because they want to expand and feel more things and have new experiences. That's the holy version. It's the same thing as a mila, removing an orla. Removing is a blockage. The hotel is leaving behind your matzumtzum dika existence and going to the Philippines and getting out there and seeing. That's literally what a mila is. It's removing chatzitzas, moving a orlas alev, and it's really.
And words.
And this has to happen on the way to Mitzrayim, because this is the whole avodah of Mitzrayim. Pharoah is maksha lipai. You want to peel off the orlas halev. This is really the avodah of life. In life, we protect ourselves. We don't feel. And I think this is the sugya of the Makkos. The whole sugya of the Makkos is a study in how do you deal with people's unwillingness to feel. Trying to slowly chip away at your, if you're talking about guys dating, like a guy gets older, he says, like, what are all the lines, all my married friends are miserable, girls just want money, everybody has all those lines. I told you that, I never told you that story? Somebody asked me to speak to an older bacher. And I went to speak to him. And the guy said, all those lines.
Park?
What? The park. Yeah. The guy said all those lines. You can imagine all the lines. So I told the guy, I said, listen, Tzaddik, I'm not here to cause you tsar. If I believed that you really believed everything you said, I would leave you alone. At least now you know tsar, being single. The reason why I want to talk to you is because I don't believe you believe a word you're saying. You're just saying that, but you still live with tsar. I'm not here to hurt you. If saying that if you really believe that all your married friends are miserable, and therefore you don't want to get married because you like it like this, and you're happy with single, and you love your freedom, and all those cliches, I'm only arguing because I think you're lying to me. Because it doesn't work. Doesn't work to lie to yourself. And most people waste their whole lives lying to themselves. So the guy says, you heard me talk about it. I don't know how. Sometimes I say it very good. Sometimes I say it not so good. The way I want to say it is like this line that he told me. It's like the saddest thing I ever heard from somebody. It's a certain kind of communication where somebody is telling you a very, very deep thing and a very vulnerable thing, but he's not really saying it because he doesn't want to say it. So he says it in like a ironic way. He said to me, "No, it does work. It really works for me." I said, "Tell me how. That would be amazing if you could tell me." He goes, "I made one change in my life and it works." I said, "What do you do?" He goes, "I work in Manhattan and I live on one side of the park and my office on the other side. And I used to cut through the park. It used to take me like 8 minutes to get to my office every morning. It was amazing. I walked through the park. Now, instead of walking through the park, I walk all the way around. I walk like 10 blocks this way, then I cross the park, I'm outside the park, I guess 59th Street, and then I make a right, and I walk all the way. And it takes me like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. But if I do that, then I'm fine." So I said, "That's amazing. Maybe I don't know how that works, but if you could explain it, you should write a book. You can imagine if you could like add 20 minutes of walking in the morning, it would solve all of your tsar. Like, explain me how it works." So he tells me like this is what I call the saddest thing. Here's what he says to me. He says, "I used to walk through the park, it's so beautiful. And it was great, life was great. But then every day when I got to the end of the park, right by the street, there's this like kids park thing with swings and seesaws. And every morning, as I was going to my office, like on the same schedule as me, there was a mother pushing her little kid on the swing every morning. And all my tyrus about being single and everything that worked, when I saw her, it cut through all of my stories. And I got sick of myself. I would come to the office like depressed and frustrated and worried and pressured. So now I just walk all the way around the park. I never see her anymore. Now everything's good." That's what he told me.
That's about it for me.
But you understand what I'm saying? It's the saddest. Like, is there a word for that kind of revelation where you're opening up in a huge way, but you're doing it like you're not really. Well, it has to be a word for that. It's a thing. No? What would you call this thing he's doing with me?
VLP?
Well, what is it?
VLP. It's
What's VLP?
VLP is synonymous. It's called synonymous. No, it's the wrong use of it.
Okay, but here it's a thing. It's he couldn't say straight out to me. It's like, he told me this in this cool way, but he was really opening up.
You should have changed the schedule instead of working all day, right? It's episode 20 minutes.
But you realize that both of them are lies. The whole point he's telling me this.
He's saying that you're right.
The whole point he's telling me this is he's telling me it doesn't really change anything. So I
Saying
said,
you're right.
so I played along. I played his game. I said, I hear that. It's amazing, but that just solves this woman. What about going to Simchas? You never go to a wedding, you go to a Shalom Zachar, like that. He goes, oh yeah, no, I stopped going to Simchas a long time ago.
How old is this guy?
Wait, well, hold on, listen, next, I played it, we're having this weird game where we're talking about it, but we're not talking about it, and I said, yeah, maybe that could work, but what about like going Thursday night for Shabbos shopping, and you see like mothers buying nash, and the kids saying, buy me this. She goes, no, he says, you can't go shopping Thursday night.
Basically change your whole life now.
So we played this game.
It's crazy.
But so he's not being real. Although we had this deep conversation, but we're not really having it, so we're allowed to have it. So deep. But why did I tell you this? How did it fit in? What are we talking about? So this is how people live. We build these, but they don't really work. So the story of life is how to dismantle your protective stories. That's called removing your orla. In my third teretz. And sort of a maloin maybe is a way to do that. Because the number one, you know what the number one blockage is on your truths? Just your little system, and you work it out, I get up in the morning, go to the gym, and go to this, and I don't have to think. That's how most people get through life. There's what do you call it? Their system, my schedule, whatever it is.
Routine.
What?
Consistency,
The routine.
The routine is the real orla on your dreams and your thoughts. You have a routine and you don't have to think of anything. So the biggest thing is the ability to break your routine and to go somewhere. Such an important thing, vacation.
Travel.
What? Travel. You're going to travel. Most people travel to get away. And that's the opposite problem. That's even less. That means even their routine is too big.
Unless you're breaking
You understand? It's like it's so heavy. So I said you have to ask yourself, why are you in the hotel for Shabbos? Did you come here to run away from your pressures? Did you come here to expand your mind?
This was your schmooze.
What?
This was your schmooze.
Two things.
It's what?
Experience, you're saying?
Yeah, experience.
So this is your schmooze to the hotel guests?
It's like told us, I asked him.
Father for Shabbos to escape.
What?
Father for Shabbos to escape.
They're not going to come back next time. They're going to be like, the rabbi said, rabbi was mean to me.
No, Jews love being beaten up on.
What? Jews don't like being told what to do.
We love screaming at this on
Everybody loves,
Yeah.
you know, okay. No, but we love being beaten, we love being,
Victimized?
whatever, scratch. There's a certain thing about scratching a mosquito bite. You know, I want to scratch a mosquito bite. You got poison ivy, it's kedai to get poison ivy just to have the pleasure of scratching it.
It's
Right?
debatable.
So,
I don't know what place it
Sounds like you never had poison ivy.
Mosquitoes are Boston.
Emotionally, we like scratching our emotional poison ivy too.
I hear
It hurts so good, you know? Okay, these are deep things that, but I want to do now is the Makkos. You wanted to do the Makkos? Let's do the Makkos. That's really this week's parasha. The thing with the Makkos is, the Torah I'm going to tell you now, it's good. But it's my old Torah, my philosophy Torah. You know, I told you a few times that when you hit 40, you realize that that's what 40 is. 40 is when you realize that philosophy is cute. It's like deep, it's like nice, but it's so like not negaya. The Torah is not a philosophy book, Torah is a psychology book. And I have to redo all my old Torah like from the psychological angle. Like what is it?
Do together.
You know, like with all the original machshava things, a lot of people are still stuck there. They go, this is the bechin of this, and this is Avrom and Chesed and Din. It's all Hadaras, it's categorized philosophy. What does it mean? What does it mean? Like talk to me about real life. That's the real Avodah. So So I'm going to tell you, this is a good example. We'll do it together. I'll tell you the vart, and then we'll figure out what that means psychologically. Here, it's good. So here's the philosophy. You know the Makkos Bahar? Dom Tzfardeya Kinim Oroiv Dever Shchin Boran Arba Choshech Makkos Bacheres. They are, the first makkah is he turned the water into blood, then the frogs, then the earth into lice, then
The animals died. Arif.
Kinim Oroiv, all the wild animals invaded and ate people. The next one was the animals died. Dever, the domestic animals, your cows and your sheep, start to die from diseases. There's two animals, the wild animals coming in from the wild and hurting people, and then after the domestic animals was shchin, everyone got boils on their skin, lesions, and then borod, hail with fire, with hail, whatever, and then next one is locust, and the next one is choshech, darkness, and makkos b'cheres. So everyone knows that. Can you figure out, the trick is to figure out the pattern. Not to see them as islands. It's obviously a system.
Not to see them as
A pattern. What's the system? That's a hard thing. It's 10 things. Connect the dots. I have a pattern. There's no patterns. I've tried over the years every kind of pattern. Every pattern is very, very forced. It's very weak.
It's more and more personal, teach Makkos.
How do you what's the system? If Hashem is not saying random verlach. There's obviously a program in the 10 Makkos, step by step. So the way to learn this is to figure out what is the step by step he's trying to do. So I have a philosophical bechinas, hagdoras of it. I'm not sure, it's not going to, I know when I say it now, it's not going to satisfy me. It's not going to scratch the itch, because it's not. The real step is this idea. If the problem of life is that we all have an orla on our heart, on our thoughts, we're all protecting ourselves, so that, and we're all like sort of like mini Pharoahs hardening our hearts. So the study of the Makkos is going to have to be a study of how you help someone come out of denial. How do you get someone who's like this to slowly open up and become real? So if we would write 10 steps like that, so really this 12 is a 12-step program, right? Which is probably very similar, but the Torah has a 10-step program to getting Pharoah out of denial, right?
Name it share.
Right.
How do you get
There's a
Pharoah?
10-step, but you could reverse engineer it. Like if you were to write up, like how do I have a bacher saying he doesn't want to get married, he hates this, he hates that, and you want to help him face the truth because he's a good guy and he's marriageable. So what would be the steps? That's the way to learn this, and then to see how it matches. But I'm going to tell you the philosophical one. Here's my pattern. In order to figure out the pattern, here's how I figured it. I figured out the pattern from Tzfardeya. Because Tzfardeya is like the weirdest, most random frogs. Like everything, like it's so like blood is animal, death, fire, frogs. Even lice. It's a little hard, but it's lice. But frogs is like just so. So what's the aside of? So here's where you start with the frogs. Tzfardeya. What is Tzfardeya? Translate the word Tzfardeya. What would you translate it as? Spell it.
Sadi Pei Reish Tal.
So what is that? What word? Break the word down.
Frogs.
Frogs. Tzfardeya is Tzipor
Bird
The Hebrew word for frog is like bird of knowledge. So can you figure out the connection between, I'm just going to go through my thought process, how I got here. Could you figure out the connection between a bird and a frog? Is there anything that birds and frogs share?
Quack.
What?
Make it sound. Make it quack.
Quacky sound? Interesting.
Well,
Birds quack?
Birds and
Not ducks. Birds.
One is
Birds
in the water, one
birds
is in
tweet
the
them.
air.
They both make sounds. Every
I
animal
know.
makes sounds.
It lives in water, but it can come on land, and the birds are in the air, they come on the ground.
Very good. Very good. There's three levels in the world. There's water.
Like a year plus.
There's water, there's land, and there's the sky, right? The way the Torah says it is the Mayim Elyonim, Mayim Tachtonim, the Shamayim, Mayim, and the Yabasha in the middle. Maskim, there are three levels. Each one of the three levels has stuff that lives there. There's animals and plants on the land. There's planets clouds, stars in the sky, and in the water is fish. And then there are two different types of beings that bridge two worlds. There are amphibians that live in the water and on land. They go between water and land. And then there are birds which can be in the sky or on the ground. They're both, and what is the root of the word sipar? Saf. What does the word saf mean?
Never heard it.
You heard the word saf?
I don't recall.
It's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Af hu ra'eh golgolas echad shetzaf al pnei hamayim. He saw a skull floating on the water. And he said, "Al da'at v'chad," because you were killed, and the end of the guy who killed you will be killed. It's a Mishnah in Avos. So the word saf means to float. So what, can you explain what floating is? What's floating? Floating is the idea, someone's floating between jobs, floating in relationships. He's not mugdar to one makom. He's all over the place. He's floating.
How do you
Wow, right. So the sipar, the word sipar and Sephardeya really share the idea of floating, because there's two different beings that are not limited to one level. The lower level floater is an amphibian which lives in the water and land. The upper level floater is a bird which lives in the sky and on the ground, which fits very good. There was a machlekes what Sephardeya was, right? What's a machlekes?
Frogs or
Or
I don't remember.
crocodiles. You ever heard of machlekes? Show you, right? He actually, Rabbi Betzalel Ashkenazi, Rabbi Eliezer Ashkenazi, I'm sorry, the Maseh Hashem. He writes, it's a Rishon, late Rishon, he wrote the Ramah, like around the change of the Rishon and Kamloidim. So he writes he traveled all over the world like you guys, and he writes all about all his travels. So he writes, he went to Egypt, and one of the pyramids, he was shown that inside are all the Sephardeya mummified.
And they were
And they're all crocodiles.
Crocodiles?
Yeah. Thousands of crocodiles. So, but what's a weird machlekes? Crocodiles are frogs, but not according to this. Because according to me, what does Sephardeya mean?
Sephardeya?
Amphibian.
What do you say like that?
It means amphibian. So it means crocodiles. It's all the things that live in the water came onto the land. That's what it means. Then that makes sense, that machlekes. So that's what Sephardeya means according to me. So now I use that, I figure out the whole Makkos. Try it now. You know what you go, you figured it out, so now go to the next step.
First of all, is there Sephardeya means what?
Leave the day out for now. Sipar is a floater. Upper level floater and lower level floater. Amphibian and bird. Things that that aren't limited to one of the three levels. Almost everything in the world, in the sky you have planets and stars and clouds. They live only there. In the water you have fish. On the land you have animals. And then you have things that live in the water on land, the lower level transitioner, and then the birds live in the Shemayim and the Aretz, they're the higher level transitioner. Right? Level 1 and 2.
They're coming down.
Level 1 and 2, level 2 and 3. That's the idea. Okay? So figure out now the pattern. Chevra.
Putting us to sleep
And
tonight.
we ate everybody some
Just
some
the side,
blood.
just the side of
Yeah,
It's
the.
very- It's very boring this week.
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
Maybe I'm gonna compose it. And,
So
That's why.
we're sorry.
not really.
Zach's working too hard.
What time
I don't
is
work
it?
hard
How
at all.
much time do we have?
Hey, it's a working tour. You mean non process?
What time is it? Can we go?
We're not that good time, obviously.
We have time. We have time. Let's work it out. So Keith, Yoel has this. This is enough to figure out the
I feel like
pattern.
there's a lot of missing steps over here.
No, this is all I know. I'm going through my thought process. I think I have a legit pattern. So I
So
started
what is it?
off. I started off thinking about what Sephardeya are. I wasn't trying to find the pattern. The word Sephardeya bothered me. It's a weird thing, a bird of knowledge. You have to take words apart. That's when you start to see cool things. Okay, you know what a bird is. Why does a frog have the word bird in it?
Why does bird have the word skull in it?
Not skull, floating.
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 Float through the air.
So no, floating means, I defined floating as something that is not limited to one area. You float between jobs. You float between. You're not rooted. You're not
Some birds, because they fly, they're not rooted.
not flying. No, because there's three levels. There's water, heaven, land. Every one is a 3.
Between levels.
Right. Most of the world is limited to one level, has its arena. There are 2 things that live on 2 arenas. They go
So
back
how
and
does
forth.
this tie into Dam?
What?
I'm trying to think how this ties into Dam.
Oh, so good. So if Tzefardea means amphibian, thing that goes from the water to the land, so then how does that fit in with Dam? Don't think of the Dam. What was turned into Dam?
The water.
Okay, so now how does that
What are
fit?
the elements?
Where? So
No.
water is the lowest. So we're starting from the bottom. The bottom is, if there's 3 levels, right? The Torah describes Hashem divided the water with the rakia, and he made mayim and shamayim. Level 1.
Is it levels of 3? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
No, there's always no.
Any-
Don't
three sets of 3?
think. Let's do it. Don't skip thinking. Let's look at it for yourself.
Dam, Tzefardea is both.
Hold on. Oh, good.
Kim
Okay.
is Shemayim.
No, Kim is not
And
Shemayim.
they come from the
Okay, what does that mean?
Oh, they come from the ground. Right. Okay, fine.
Okay, so the
Then
first
order comes from ground
slow
again.
down. The first makkah is on the lowest level on the mayim. The next makkah is the transition from mayim to land, coming out of the mayim onto the land. The next makkah is he turned the dust, the earth, into lice. That's the land, right? We're on
So
schedule.
those are the things that live on the land.
Bottom. So how do you get to
Go-
that?
Going from bottom up, okay?
So
Go-
Orev is the animals that live on the land.
Now, once you're on the land,
Okay.
what's the pattern of wild animals, domestic animals, human? What does that sound?
Closer to home.
It's coming closer to the center,
Right.
right? The wild animals come from the edges of the earth, and then the domestic animals, and then on the boils on you yourself.
No, it's good. Kinim. Dever.
Horoiv dever shechin.
Okay, go ahead.
Wild animals, domestic animals, the human himself. It's working its way towards the center, right? Now, once we got to
Finish the land itself.
So
Go up to the sky.
now we do the other way. So what should be the next, without looking at this, what should be the next step?
Towards the sky, crashing down.
It should be a mirror image of the
Yeah.
frogs, which transition,
Right.
should have the upper level
No,
transition.
first down.
No, first should be
Dam
sky.
should be
Yeah,
Cheshire.
first should be
No,
sky.
Dam's
Dam
the
is
last.
Cheshire.
No, Dam is
Oh, it's backwards.
just
Right,
on the
right,
heaven.
right,
It's a
right.
mirror. It's everyone. Please
Right, so
come.
Dam is first and that's last. Okay, yeah.
Right. So the last one should be Chayshach,
Yeah.
right? Because it's the Chayshach is to
Yeah,
the
it's
sky,
Dam.
what
Dam
Dam
is-
is to the water, right?
Cheshire is the sky.
What Dam is to the water.
Okay, fine, yeah.
And then under that should be a transition. That's the
Right.
locust. The locust
So I
comes.
borrowed.
Oh, now here's the only problem with this pattern. Every problem has problems. This is a small
Wait, locust is a combination of both, right?
With before locust, because of borrowed arba chayshach. Borrowed.
Bar, yeah,
What does
bar.
borrowed do?
It mixes two.
It comes from Shemayim
Yeah.
down to the Aretz.
Okay.
So I see borrowed as the parallel to the Tzefardea.
Okay.
Why? That's
Here,
our
it's coming out of the sky and going.
Go.
That's
That's
the
the kasha.
locust.
That's the kasha.
One of them is the kasha. One of them.
One of them. Borod and Arba sound like, in my
Same.
system, duplicates.
Yeah.
They both come from Shemayim. They're both the upper version of Tzefardea. Everything else
Well,
feels.
bar is earth, meaning it's ice and fire, which are both.
As I said, I didn't, in any of them, I didn't get into blood. I just dealt with what the Makkos on. Right? There's a lot of more nuance to study. But this, in the pattern, I'm just showing every level of debris.
Bar is an earthly thing. It's fire and water, which you both have down here. That
It's
ended up in heaven and
It's
came
come or
down.
whatever it is, but it's heaven, and so are locusts. They start down that locust.
Locusts are a bridge.
They're not
That's the
born in
whole
the
thing.
sky. Not born in the
I
sky.
think they're both. That's a bridge.
And so is fire. Okay, so it just looks like that Borod and Arba in my system are duplicates. That's my kasha, but the kasha ends up being the raya. Why? Again, you have to look at it inside. How does the Torah describe Arba? You want to look at it inside? Look at the pasuk for Arba. There's two things I want you to see there. I have two terutzim, teretz kasha, and both terutzim are really, if I say myself, they're amazing terutzim. Next week's parsha will be the last three Makkos. So Arba is Boi, and it is. Okay, what does it say about Arba? Let's look at it together. Vayet Moshe es Mateu al Eretz Mitzrayim. Hashem nihag ruach kodim ba'aretz. Hashem caused a great wind all day, and the wind brought the locust, and that locust came, wet spread all over the land of Mitzrayim, extremely heavy. Beforehand, there was no Arba like this, and afterwards, there'll never be another one. It covered the eye of the earth, and it darkened the earth. And they ate all of the grass and all of the fruits of the trees that were left over. Look at Pasuk Tesvav. That's the Pasuk that you got to study here. Pasuk Tesvav, describing the Arba. What was Akasha? Why you need Borod and Arba? They're duplicates. What did the Borod do? What was the Makkah of Borod? It destroyed all their crops and everything. Animals, everything was burned or broken or destroyed. But it said the fruits that were ripe got destroyed, but the fruits that were still fresh and not ripe, they survived because they were, I guess, soft, whatever. What is it? You'll see how does it translate the pasuk? Ki afilo isheina. Look at the end of Borod, pasuk.
That's different.
Which is Tesvav 7? Which one?
Yeah, that's Borod is going back.
The pasuk is.
This is in Parshas Vayera.
The end of Vayera. It's the last Makkah in Vayera.
Mm-hmm.
Pasuk Lamed Aleph. V'apishta v'asayir nukasa. The barley and the wheat were hit.
Flax and barley.
Ki asahoyra aviv u'havapishta givoil. V'achita sorry, I said pishta. Pishta is not wheat. Pishta is flax. The flax and the barley were hit.
Right, but the wheat and spelled.
But the wheat is spelled ki afilo isheina.
They ripen later.
And right, so it seems like the Borod only destroyed half of the crop.
Yeah.
Okay? Now look at the Arba. Pasuk Tesvav.
Yeah.
Tesvav,
Yeah.
Yud Tesvav, next week's parsha. Vayachasas eina aretz covered the whole. Like that's how they describe Arba. They create a cloud. They swoop. They darken the sky.
What's
and
the
they swoop
Lashon
down.
Ein? Eye of the earth?
Yeah. Okay, interesting way of describing it. And what did they do? It's one pasuk. Look at the pasuk. One pasuk. Chasis ein haaretz.
Is it? What is it? Techshas?
It's called Esav Eretz. It's called Eretz. It's called Esav Eretz. Anything that was left over in the bar was eaten.
Not the hail left over.
Everything the hill
Sure,
left over.
everything.
So what does it sound like?
That bar did half the job.
Borod have the job and Arba finished. It sounds like Borod and Arba. My kasha was you have two Makkos that are doing the same thing. And the answer is because each one was only half. The pasuk just
So
tells
it just leads you
exactly.
to another question. It just changes the question.
Why did Hashem divide it up? That's a
Yeah.
separate question, but my pattern is legit. It's a good question why Hashem added.
So how's the answer work?
No, the
The
answer
kasha
just changes
was
the
why
question.
Conscious of duplicates.
Why do you need Borod and Arba? They're both
Right.
doing the same role as Tzefardea.
Right.
And the answer is, I don't know why you need two, but the reason why there had to be two is because the Borod didn't finish the job. It left over the chita.
But had we started with just Arba, it would have finished the job.
What?
Arba would have done the job itself. Arba didn't
Fine,
didn't
but
discriminate.
the Arba is, the Torah says, Es Asher Hishir Arborod.
Yeah,
It was
it
the
was
maker
the-
test. So the Torah is telling us that you asked me a kasha why I need two. Duplicates, not duplicates. Each one is half of the Tzefardea, like half of the job. Why the upper level Tzefardea had to be divided in two, I don't know. But that's one teretz. In this pasuk is another teretz. So this teretz is what? is that Arba really wasn't its own
Two
Makkah.
parts of the same thing.
Mak Arba is a follow-up to Barad. What's the other teretz? Look in the pasuk. It's so cool. Teretz number 1 is Arba is Barad part 2.
Over Techshach?
What's the next Makkah? So what's Arba?
Start.
Choshech part 1.
Huh?
Look at the pasuk. You have the Chumash there?
No.
But Techshach arts, yeah.
The Arba vakisos eina oretz vatechshach haaretz. No one notices it.
Meaning that's
Before Choshech, the Makkah of Choshech already was Choshech.
Oh, meaning in Arba there was Chayshach.
So the Arba is half Barad and half Choshech.
So now you have 3 duplicates.
What?
So now you have 3
It's not
So-
just a mixture of the two, they're all three combining.
So, but it was weird. So you have a bigger problem to answer, but it doesn't. My pattern is perfect.
Yeah, it works.
Right.
The pattern is a real pattern for all 10 Makkos.
Right.
But it's a philosophical pattern.
So what's
there's
Shad
no
actual pattern?
There's no
I mean,
psychological.
what's showing the actual pattern?
Okay, so you have to figure out but we have what to work with now. Yeah, this is why it's not easy to come up with Torah, but you hear how it happens on its own. You can literally on your own unpack it, and you end up with amazing real Torah that matches the psukim. Like I had this mahalach and it bothered me so much that Barad and Arba is done, and then you look at the psukim and it just gets cooler and cooler. You realize it's making up for the bar. I didn't even think to ask that question. But the question is why did the Barad? Why did he bring a makkah and only get half a job? So it's a cool thing to ask is why Barad. Really what we're looking at is we have this symmetrical system of the bottom up and the top down, but on the top down there's an extra bridge that doesn't exist on the bottom. There's a bridge in the bridge. Like the bridge is the Vardeya, we have a bridge in the bridge. There's an extra level from Shemayim to Oretz, which itself probably is a door to a huge Torah. We have a mucker that it's not perfectly symmetrical this way to this way. On this way, there's an extra step. There's an extra step in Ruchnius and Gashmius. There's an extra. By the way, let me show you the same vart as this. Based on this vart, I start to look at the world as the two different up and down and up with the earth in the middle. So I found an amazing thing. By the mun. Klal Yisrael complains about the mun. What's the complaint? They say, we don't like this. We remember the daga asher ochal b'Mitzrayim, the fish we ate in Mitzrayim for free. You know that pasuk? The mun is described as, the pasuk says, v'hamun kizra gad, like the seeds of God. What's God? The article says coriander seed, kizra gad. It says, and they say zach, we don't like it. Zachar is a dagar. So this is going to sound gimmicky. It's not like our regular Torah, but you realize that God and Dog are backwards, right? Dalad Gimel Gimel Dalad. What does the Mishnah say? What does the Gemara say in Brachas about when it works through the Aleph base? Aleph, right? Aleph base Gimel Dalad is Goimel Dalad. Gimel means to be Goimel, to give, and Dalad is poverty, right? That's what Gimel Dalad represents. I know the Gemara says that's why the leg of the gimel reaches towards the dalad. You're supposed to give to the poor, but the dal leans over in the back that the dal shouldn't make it hard. He should be willing to accept a little bit. He should be like, So that's Gemara. But the idea, the complaint that Klal Yisrael had on the mun, what's a legitimate complaint on the mun? Is that what? Yeah, I'm a schnar. I don't want it. It's goimel, and that's what it means. It's goimel dalo. We're schnars. It's kizra gad. It's seeds of tzedakah. That's why he calls it kizra gad. God is gimel dal. And you just give me a gift, I'm coming down. We'll earn it. What do we want? We remember the dog that we ate in Mitzrayim, which is the opposite. Because what happens with fish? Is this comes from Shemayim down to Eretz. The fish is from the water down up to the earth, and I pull it up myself. But the reason why it becomes a real
That's not, that comparison is because they worked for one. It's nothing to do with
I want to make it one step better. What's the word in Shema we say for Dagon, the Gancha? What does Dagon mean?
Produce.
Produce. So how come the word for fish and produce is the same word? What does fish and produce have in common? Dug. Dug on dug. What's the common denominator between fish and produce? In this framework, it's obvious.
You put in the word.
If Goimel Dalim, beautiful, Goimel Dalim is Hashem giving us tzedakah.
You gotta catch fish.
So fish and grain is it's the opposite. Goimel Dalim means from the Goimel. Hashem's the Goimel, I'm the Dal. Dog is I'm the guy, I'm the Gimel, and I'm the one pulling the fish up or pulling the grain out of the earth. Dog and dogon therefore don't really mean fish or grain. It means the thing where we're not the schnorrers. And that's what they say in Zachar HaDaga, is that we don't want to be schnorrers. What? Yeah? We don't be schnorrers. It's the same, I figured all this out just from this, all from the words of Fardeya. Once you realize there's 3 levels, it goes like this and like this, you understand? It all flows. So now we just got to figure out what the point of this pattern is. But that's the pattern. The psychologically means, like what is it, like what's the lesson to this? Like that's all Torah. That kind of like. So now people are satisfied with that. For years, people loved the shir. It was like, wow, it's so amazing. Everything makes sense. No, it does nothing make sense. Like, why do I need transitional animals inviting me? Like, what's the message? So the message is going to be something like the first job is the blood. Next one is a transitional job. You have to find psychologically transitional things that are like, what does the rep? So, I slowly fill in all the dots, and then you can translate. Like we discussed the What does the represent? In previous Torah.
The thing that goes through.
No, the to us represents that the Eretz Yisrael is called not like Eretz Yisrael because you don't have the you need rain. The is in Egypt, they plant in the Nile Valley because the overflows and irrigates all their fields, and they don't need rain. Remember we did that Torah?
We did. We touched on it.
So the represents safety.
Oh, right. Not leaving your.
Not needing to.
So even the dog in Mitzrayim wasn't real work.
Well, we didn't get to the dug yet. We're doing the first Makkos.
It's the people.
Dumb. Doing dumb. So what's the symbolism of dumb? If the Dior represents a whole worldview, that I'm only going to invest myself, plant. I can't plant when I need rain because it's too risky, might not be rain. I need to control everything. I will only plant where the water is guaranteed. So the first thing you need to do, if you want to get someone healthy, is you have to get rid of all the guarantees. You have to show them that nothing's guaranteed. And that's the secret of dumb. Dumb is very good because dumb is the opposite of guaranteed. It's blood. It's guttural, right? It's a very powerful mark already. We already from different angles. We started off with the idea that Pharoah is hardened his heart. So that's all of us. We're all Pharoahs. The story of the Makkos is the process. It's really, you know what it is? I'll make it bigger. Is we're all enslaved. Everyone's in their Mitzrayim. What's the Mitzrayim? It's what enslaves me. What enslaves me is my fears and my insecurities and my fear of getting hurt. So therefore I don't want to be vulnerable. Therefore I protect myself and I say, oh, my married friends are miserable. Those are all response. My married friends are miserable is a response to what? What's it a response to? My fear that I'm never going to get married. Right? My desire to have a relationship, my fear it'll never happen. So that's what we do. That's called slavery. Slavery is because freedom is to pursue your dreams. So what really enslaves us? Fears. But everybody has fears. The slavery is where because of your fears, you harden your heart and you lie to yourself about your dreams. You crush the dreams, and then you're a slave. So freedom is the ability to face the truth of your dreams, even though it might hurt you. The willingness to be vulnerable. So the R represents that safety of not being able to face. Eretz Yisrael is a land that doesn't have a yard. There's no Nile Valley, you got it planned. And if there's no rain yet, you're up the creek. You gotta take a risk. Eretz Yisrael is all risk. You gotta be vulnerable. It's a very scary place, Eretz Yisrael. It's very risky. But that's that step where you're willing to invest yourself in something that's not here, that's called freedom. The playing it safe is slavery. But you can't just play it safe. You have to convince yourself that dreams don't exist. That's hardening your heart. We all harden our hearts, and we plant around our yours. So the first step, if the point of Mitzrayim is to go free, the first step to going free is to get rid of your safe place. You were banking on the yard that you didn't. Now you have no yard. Now what? What do you do? So now what do you do now? Let's say you have your safe place. This guy, let's say this I ruined it for him. This guy had this. He walked around the park. So now, okay, let's make up different. Let's say they're doing construction around the park. He has to cut through the park. Okay, so now what does he do? We ruined his walk around the park, his ya'ar got blood, turned to blood. Or you know what? Or they put swings all the way around the park. Okay, that's turned to blood. Now it's the worst thing. Or there's a school there, and it's all these giggly kids or whatever, or it's a mother and kids conference. They built picnic, whatever it is, it's all around the park of people with carriages. It became like the place to go with your bugaboos. Okay? So that's the equivalent of blood, the water turned to blood. Your safety net turned into blood. Now what? Now what is, let's be the bacher. Then we'll understand next time. How does he adapt? What do you do if I take away your safe hiding place? Because whatever you do, that's what Feldheim is going to be addressing.
You can stop going to work. You can take.
You move away from the park. You leave the whole area. You leave, even though the park. Yeah, you have to get away. You have to run away. Your R was your safety net, and now it's ruined. So you have to leave your safety net. Right? Does that make sense? You have to avoid. But when the stuff comes out of the R and follows you home, what's the nimshal of that? You can't escape. How does it look in real life? What's the nimshal? It's very powerful. Really, that's what the frogs are. That's the idea of transition means that you're leaving the R, but the R is going to follow you. The R follows you. You can't escape the R. So what does that mean in real life? When you try and run away, if you were a therapist, like it's a guy.
It's like his nephew's coming to visit him.
The guy moved. He moved to China because he heard that in China the ratio of children to parents is less than one. He's not going to save the kids in China. He moves to China, and he gets to China, and
He moved into building today.
what?
He moves into building
Daycare by
today.
Yeah, it's like this is where all the Somalians open daycares in this building. In
That's
China.
fine, so we know kids there.
Oh, that's what. So he doesn't move to China. He moves to
Minnesota.
Minnesota. He moves to Minnesota because all the daycares are empty.
Or he's not jealous of those.
Right? So is that what we do in real life? Is that what we do? We run away from the things, the wake-up calls. We avoid all the reminders. That's the next step, but the R follows you. How does the R follow you? How does that in real life? How does it follow you? What's our frogs? What does Hashem do? You know what it is? Wedding invitations. With this bacher, he moves away from the park,
Go to weddings.
and he gets the wedding invitations in Feldheim. You know, you get someone brings you all your mail, or they get a forwarding address.
That's all I'm saying.
bottom line is all the things you're avoiding. The next step is, the process is, first Hashem gets rid of your safe place, then you run away, you don't want to face it, but it follows you. You get wedding invites. So now what do? Now get rid of the tzvardeya. You don't give anyone your forwarding address. Get rid of all the frogs. Get rid of all the frogs. I don't need water anymore. I don't need water. I find a career. I don't plant. I don't need water.
You don't need the safety net anymore?
What?
You don't need that safety net? That guarantee?
If I invest myself, but if I don't do any planting anymore, I'll never plant again. This is why I don't need this. I'll never plant anymore. So now I don't need it because there's no water. So instead of becoming vulnerable, I say I'm not a farmer.
New career.
No more farm. New career. So you know what the new career is? A world without water. So you know what happens?
Animals?
The earth itself. You're just on the earth without water, but the earth turns into ice, which means that just because you avoided the water, the new world you're in will also turn against you when you're not in. It's nice and it's the earth, but what's nice? What time is it? Like we're overtime.
9:12.
Yeah, we should stop. Starting you off, we have next week also. Work on the Makkos. It's like a lot, but the trick is to do it the other way. Like don't force. Like right now, I feel like we're forcing it a little bit. I have to think. I need a long drive. But think about really, if you're not constricted by psukim, and you wanted to write a plan on how to get someone to become vulnerable when he's hardening his heart. He's a master at not thinking about things, avoiding things, making fun of them. What's the process? And we'll find, I don't doubt for a second that we'll find that it's going to fit perfectly with Makkos. Because that's Makkos. That trying to get power is hard unhardened.
So the final mark is just killing him?
What?
The final mark is killing him?
No, the Makkos B'charis is that, you know what the B'charis, what's B'char represent?
Extension.
Your dreams. That's everything. B'char is has pity. Is that your thing. So at the end, when you don't break, the last step, that's a total destruction. If you refuse to dream, again, we said what? Everybody has dreams. That's where freedom is. It's amazing, Makkos B'charis. Freedom is to dream. The hardening the heart is not to face my dreams. And we're trying to get you to be free, to dream again, and get married. What's the last thing? The last thing is that when you didn't wake up, the dream is gone. The death of the firstborn is the loss of, it's like very final. It's the ultimate example. If you wanted to literally make the perfect manifestation of dreams, done. That's the death of your B'char. That's what a B'char is. That's my whole pshat in B'char. The B'char is the dreamer. You know my Yosef talk? That Yosef was born to a perfect marriage? That's what every B'char feels. Every B'char is all new clothing, no hand-me-downs. He has pictures of every little thing he ever did. The parents play with him all day long. The next kids are like, the B'char is the blessed kid. He's like his dream life. That's why Klal Yisrael was supposed to be led by B'char.
But we discussed one thing. Nobody in the Torah was B'char.
Yeah, it never happens. Never happens. But can you imagine the amazingness of a nation led by dreamers, by B'chayim? People who are wide-eyed and excited and everything. I don't know if it would be good, but there's something very beautiful about it. Right?
I'm a little biased.
What?
I'm a little biased.
You're a B'chayim?
Make sense now?
We'll see.
Oh, yeah.